I wanted to do an episode because I know that many of you have reported that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, you have had people ask you, like, hey, I am a new Christian. Where do I start? I need to know about all of the things, what Bible do I get? What do I need to know? And so I wanted to do an episode that would be the episode you would send to a brand new Christian, because I have a couple of people like that in my life. And I thought, man, what would I really want them to know? So I invited my friend, Greg Kokel, who has written a great book called Story of Reality. We've actually talked about that book on the show before because it is such a good book that gives you sort of this overarching biblical worldview, but he does it through story. And so it's very engaging. I actually read it to my kids. I've said that many times. And it's a really good book to send to somebody, but even just this podcast, I think would be a good podcast to send to somebody. A huge highlight for me, and I want to bring this out because I've already started doing this, was Greg gave some amazing advice about reading the Bible at the end. And what he said was, instead of trying to read the Bible in a year, which I don't know if you're like me, I don't know what it is about my personality, but every time I've tried, I've never successfully read the Bible in a year. Now, I've read the whole Bible a few times. I've just never successfully done it in a year. And maybe even not consecutively, except I've done it consecutively one time. And so I thought, okay, this is interesting to me. He said, don't read the Bible in a year. Like, okay, I'm listening. And he basically said, get one of the little printouts that you can do. I got mine from the Bible Recap because they schedule it based on what the chronological order of the Bible rather than the actual order the books are in. And what Greg said to do is print that out and then just however long it takes you, start crossing off what you've read and don't try to do it in a year. And he said that he does this and it takes him about 3 years to read the Bible. And I thought this is life-changing because what happens to me is I start out really solid in January and then somewhere around March or April, I get behind and then I give up. Now, that doesn't mean I give up reading my Bible, but I give up doing the consecutive reading through the Bible, and then I'll just start studying a book or doing something like that. But I really want to do it. So I did exactly what Greg said. I printed out my sheet, and I read a bit in Genesis, and then I got to Job. And you know what I realized? Every time I've read the book of Job, which is several times, I've read it so fast because it's early on in that Bible in a year program that I didn't even really get to take in what it actually means. Because Job is honestly a hard book to interpret because you have a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of bad advice that his friends give, and you have to actually kind of think. You have to slow down and think. And so I have gotten so much just out of reading Job very slowly, way more than I've ever got from reading it really fast. So that was a huge highlight in today's conversation for me. And I just want to encourage you to do that. Instead of making an unrealistic goal that you're going to end up giving up on, this is so great because you're just going to keep going. And even if you just read a little bit one day and that's all you could really soak up and take in, that's okay. And maybe if you read a bigger chunk the next day, that's okay too. But the point is that you just keep going rather than trying to do it in such a quick amount of time.